Grand Rapids Hybrid. While I'm at it, another key sponsor is the Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage. Give Mario a phone call today. Doesn't matter where you live in the United States, he can get you started on your mortgage adventure. How can there be a mortgage adventure? It's just get the mortgage. 231-332-6505 is Mario's number. He's at his desk right now. Call upon him, and he can help you out. Leave a message if he's not around. He's probably helping somebody else out. 231-332-6505. It is Monday, June 8th, 2020. My brother's birthday. Let's go.
And don't nobody want their child to be sick. And don't nobody want to take their child into their house.
Shush. And now, here's a guy who really ought to be saving his breath for his inflatable date.
You're the most ridiculous of me!
It's the Eric Zane Show podcast with your host, Eric Zane.
Hey, Johnny, welcome into the Eric Zane Show podcast. Here we go. Oh, man, this is a daily podcast, Monday through Friday, covering news, nonsense, and my personal shenanigans. I just got to get this off my chest because it just, I couldn't believe what I heard. So, all right, in my brain, I've been following the story about Joe Rogan getting $100 million to put his show exclusively on Spotify. And I'm like, man, that is exciting news. I love that. That's really, really great. Now, more often than not, I've listened to Rogan's show, and I'm like, yeah, I like it. I'm not a diehard, and when I've listened, I like it when he has not exactly the comedians on. The comedians are fine, but some of the other things he does, I like it. I'll listen to it. I don't think I've ever made it through a whole show. I mean, he had some band on recently called Honey Honey, who I don't know who that is, but he talked to those people for 5 hours. It was a 5-hour podcast. And I'm like, holy cow, that is exceptional. I mean, well, I don't know if that's good or bad, though. I guess he just felt like going with it. But he must know what he's doing. I mean, because the show is bigger than life, and he has an unbelievable amount of income from it, and then he sells it to Spotify. Coming up in September, you will only be able to get the show on there. And that even goes for YouTube. He does it when he goes live. He puts it on YouTube, similar to what this is. Billion times bigger, but similar in scope. You get the idea. But for the life of me, I don't know how this is a thing from time to time, because he did a show, I think his most recent show. A lot of times I'll look at who he has on. I'm like, I don't know who that is. I have no idea who this person is, but I'll give it a listen. Maybe he can captivate me. So I see that he's got a couple names on that I don't know, and I go, all right, let's check it out. Maybe he'll go into it with an open mind. The guy had on 2 people from his favorite restaurant, and that was it. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. It was a commercial. It was a 2-hour commercial for this place. And I'm like, what is going on here? How is this? Because, look, I put people on my podcast that are like sponsors all the damn time. And I'm not saying this was a sponsor. I think he just likes these people. But it was just the shittiest, most boring thing I think I've heard in my whole life. I was like, fuck, man. How the fuck Can you say, yeah, for the 190 million downloads I get a month, and that's what he gets a month? How do they let him get away with that? Because I was like, this is fuck. And if you look online, criticism of Joe Rogan, there isn't shit about anything like this, about this being bullshit. This is bullshit. This was absolute bullshit. I'm listening to this shit. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? How is this? Isn't there someone in his fold of people that goes, Joe, this is shitty, okay? We can't put on the chef and the fucking maitre d' from the local restaurant for no real reason whatsoever. There's got to be a story here. You can't just, this is bullshit. So I listened to the thing, and I made it as far as I could, and I went, well, all right, well, this is terrible. And you know, okay, it wouldn't be such a big deal. The reason why it's not a big deal when I put on my sponsors is because I do a podcast every day of the week, okay? He does. So if you're sitting there waiting around for your episode of the Joe Rogan podcast or the Joe Rogan Experience, whatever the fuck it's called, and you're expecting one thing, and you get the guy who runs the local pizza shop or whatever it is, I'm like, what? Huh? Really? That's it? Okay. All right. It seems to work. I guess you got better knowledge of this than I do. You've got a better hand. Maybe I should go over to Mr. Burger, which is my favorite place to eat, okay? The one in Hudsonville where I live is my favorite. I can go up to that dude who owns the place, I forget his name, and have him and his top cash register operator and bring them in after the pandemic in 15 years when that ends. And we can talk about how much I love the Euro platter. And we can talk about the accessible parking, what they've done since COVID-19 to keep people safe. We can talk about the Bible tracts at the front door that you can get for some light reading while you're eating a shrimp platter. We can talk about how, hey, there's an ice machine right there and a water dispenser. You can just get up and fill your water yourself. Oh, and don't forget about the pleasantness of when you're done, you just leave your tray right there and some young Dutch kid is going to come and clear it for you. And you don't even have to leave a tip, man. This place is a Dutch haven. You know, but you don't be giving up your money. You don't give anybody a tip at Mr. Burger, right? I don't know. I always do. I try to. Did you remember the tip for the little Dutch kid? Yeah, let's bring him in and do a 6-hour podcast about that. I don't know. We got a lot to talk about on the show today. I'm going to introduce you to Zeus the Cat in a little bit. I've got an update on the kidney donation. If you don't know, well, first of all, let me back up. Zeus the Cat. It's my goal to make Zeus the Cat famous, and I think we're well on our way. The organization that I've partnered with in Ottawa County, Michigan, Harbor Humane, which is the place for all of these dogs and cats that need to be rescued. That I've spoken with Allison more than once. I don't know what my problem is right now. Well, she has a cat in her office. It's Zeus the Cat, and she revealed last week that, hey, this cat has an incredible purr. You won't believe the sound of it. I actually have the audio of the cat, and it's true. You won't believe it. I've got an update on Diana and I donating a kidney. You might be like, if you're listening to this show for the first time in a long time, be like, wait, what? You're donating a kidney? What are you talking about? Yeah. That, we have an update. I will talk about that. Do you remember? Well, you know, you probably don't because I talked about it only on the Patreon on Friday. The guy in Maryland who was riding his bike, and he saw some people. I thought it was a kid, but I guess they're 18 and 19 years old. They're hanging up like, don't be racist signs. You know, everybody's doing, racism is on the forefront of everybody's brain right now with all the shit going on. There's a couple kids or young adults putting up signs, and this guy went bonkers on a bike. And we talked about it, and there's a big update on this guy. Oh, my God, is this dude in trouble? I've got audio of a new Karen. You remember the Karen a couple weeks ago who at Central Park went after the black dude because he asked her to leash up her dog or something. And she went cuckoo and called the cops and said, "There's a black guy trying to rape me." It's terrible. We got a new one who's doing the same thing, but this time the person that she was accosting, Karen, is accosting this young lady, looks to be Latina, and Latina lady is now known for two things. Enormous boobs, which you can see in the video. You won't believe the size of these knockers. Man, she is showing them. And she's also known for something else that I can't say because it'll like tip off the story, but we'll park on that. There's audio. Forrest Fenn. Who is Forrest Fenn? I've talked about Forrest Fenn before. He is a kind of a hippie, adventurist, author, old-timer. He announced many years ago that he has hidden a treasure in the Rocky Mountains, and it is worth more than $1 million, full of diamonds, gems, gold, silver, frankincense, myrrh, whatever, inside of an actual treasure chest. And he had been challenging people to find it. I've got a massive update. This thing is so serious. People have been looking for it and died. On this show, I've talked about people dying trying to find the treasure of Forrest Fenn. And the dude is sitting there like still alive today, weighing in on it. Whenever someone has something happen to them while they're looking for his treasure, I'm like, Jesus, I would have pulled up stakes and just revealed it. But I have a massive update on that. And a man has been tormented by pizza. What? I'll explain coming up. Roger Goodell and the NFL do an about face. I'm going to be a lot less on the protest and the racism today because my feelings got hurt. In fact, let me address that right now. All right. I explained to this person, I wasn't going to do it, but now I'm going to. I always do that. I'm not going to get into specifics, and then I do. God, I don't know what it is. As soon as this red light goes on in front of me, I'm like, yeah, I'll just tell them. Okay. Now, this person and I, it's not Bleeding Heart Brian, it's another Brian. This other Brian has been a huge supporter of me forever and is just tremendous. And we have since worked this out. But damn it, I was pretty bummed out because I'm an anxiety-filled monster. And the reason why I get like this is because I am constantly concerned about, whether or not I'm quote-unquote gonna make it. If I'm going to survive, if the podcast is going to continue to grow, is it all going to dry up and be gone tomorrow? Now, that's very unrealistic, but I still struggle with that, and it is I've become a very anxious person over the last 4 or 5 years. And it is a very easy thing to knock me into the abyss. I'm being completely honest with you here. For the most part, I'm fine, but I do, from time to time, get thrown into this desperate, a little bit depressed, but very anxious frame of mind, and it's horrible. It's very unrealistic. I exist when I'm in a panic state of everything is terrible, and the bottom is going to drop out of this, and we're going to be homeless. It's so stupid, I know, but it's absolutely true. So, all right. Friday ends, and I feel good. I feel, after a week like I had last week, first of all, I like talking about current events. I like putting my slant on things. I like calling out bullshit. And but I forget how tricky of a business this is from time to time when you have very serious stories like we have had in the past week. And even beyond that, prior to George Floyd, it was COVID, but I'm in a unique spot where I actually support the stay-at-home order, but supported. Still do. It's ending now, but I'm a Republican, so I've it's usually that's been following along party lines, and all of the politicizing of mask wearing is just a big. And I can't do this show without it being a real my take on things. So whereas I'm constantly telling you about my personal stories, I'm also keeping a close eye on what is dominating the news. And I'm not an elephant in the room guy and just ignoring it. I'm going to talk about it because, frankly, I'm very interested in what's going on in the world, and I have my own personal opinions about it. And I would like to say, and I would be perfectly honest with you, that nothing influences me about what I think. I watch, I digest, I process, and I call bullshit, okay? And I am quick to indict the people that I support in terms of politics and even beyond politics. I just call it as I see it. So I've been doing that a lot lately because, as I said in the response to this person, this is the way the river goes, and I'm not going to try to change the flow of the river. It is what it is. And when there's big stories, and let's be honest here, COVID and Floyd, outside of 9/11, are the two biggest news stories that we have had in the past 2 decades. I would say there's 3 gigantic news stories that are absolutely unforgettable. The 2 I mentioned, well, all of those I mentioned, 9/11, Floyd, and pandemic. That's it. And it just so happens the last 2 have happened in the last, well, however long it's been. So that's massive, man. And so that's it. I'm going to form an opinion. You got to take it or leave it. Most of you are good with that. Some of you are like, I don't agree with Zane. He's a fucking moron. But you still listen. And this kind of goes hand in hand with, I've talked about this before. If you have a problem with me, I suggest you just maybe, if you have to give me a break and then come back, it's probably going to be different when you do come back. And like today is not a lot of this protest and pandemic talk at all. But it's just because I planned it that way, and because it's kind of like, it's all about momentum. It's all about what do you really want to talk about. And the things that I choose to talk about are because I have a point of view about it, or I have a funny story or something to make you laugh. It could be any one of the things, and the point of this show is you never know how it's gonna turn out. So I feel very proud of that, and I've worked hard to try to capture it as best I can. But what I have talked about at length with you before is, if there's something that's really bumming you out and you want to just throw me to the wind and say, fuck you, Eric, just do it. Don't announce it. You don't have to be like a plane leaving and say, it's the departure. Here's the departure, the long kiss goodbye, and I'm giving you the reasons why. And because I only ask you that as a favor. I'm asking you as one last gift to me. If you have to leave me, and you are sick of me, and you're moving on to another show, or maybe you're giving me a break and you're going to come back, please don't, as one favor I just ask, is don't send me your dramatic goodbye letter. I've had this happen to me many times over the years, and I don't understand why, and it didn't bother me as much as it used to now. But when this is all I have, I've worked hard to build it, and when I see just one person coming back at me, it really throws me into the abyss. And it did most recently. I turned into a huge baby over this email. Now, part of this is me. I got to get better at ignoring, but when a person takes the time to write me a book about whatever, I'm just really, really compromised and weak. A weak-ass wimp is what I am. So, dude wrote, as I've mentioned before, and it always starts the same. I always get the resume, and again, me and this person are cool now, but I wasn't at the time. It always starts with the person's resume of how long they've listened and they've done this for me and they've supported me in this, but now I'm done. And I'm always like, go on, stop. Just do me the one last favor then. Your last parting gift is just go, or give me a break, or take a break from me and then try it again, okay? But you can't, if you would just please indulge me and not announce it with a dramatic email, I would love you forever. As I've mentioned before, Zane, I've been a fan since way back in the Freeburn Hotwings days. The day they let you go is the day I quit listening to them altogether. I followed you to WBBL, even though I had to listen online, and now I catch the podcast nearly every day on the way to and from work. My commute is about an hour one way, and I enjoy listening to your daily antics. Up until recently. Now, I'm not sure if my opinion means anything. Oh, it does. But to me, your show has taken a turn. What used to be entertainment has now been your daily rant on current affairs. Don't get me wrong. I respect your opinion even when it differs from mine, which seems to be more common. But if I wanted to hear political rhetoric and one-sided spins on today's events, I would turn on the radio. Look, I'd like to pause there. I feel good about the things I say on any one of those topics because, again, I don't base it on one side. I'm a multi-sided individual, okay? When was the last time you heard of a tried and true Republican like me say such progressive, moderate things? I'm a rarity, okay? And I base it all on just what I feel. It isn't, one side or another. How can you possibly think that? There are plenty of media outlets out there that I can pick and choose from, but I choose yours because it was an escape from the daily bombast of hyperbole. I would say that the daily bombast and hyperbole are reasons to tune in, and I would like to say I am a proud bombast and hyperbole person. My comedy works with hyperbole. Now, it's a daily recap of all the bad shit that happened yesterday and your take on it. Dude, okay, yes. And I would like to say that when that does happen, I'm trying to do something funny within it. You just got to dig a little. You just got to grain of salt it. Something funny's going to happen, I can promise you, along the way. I can get opinionated recounts on social media and network news outlets. So he's telling me all the things that he wants me to do and the reasons why he's leaving. And now again, me and this guy are cool now, and it's just I just struggled with the announcement and the boldness at which this is happening because, well, it's mine. I built it the way I wanted to build it. I built it the way I wanted to build it. I enjoy it. It's fun. I love talking about these things. To the point and fair in what I talk about. Now, with all that said, we are living in unprecedented times. That line right there, we're living in unprecedented times. So this has never happened before. What do you expect anyone to talk about at this stage of the game? A horrible virus has killed hundreds of thousands of people. A cop kills a guy that brings people together, which is going to kill more people. That's crazy talk. Of course we're going to talk about it. It's never happened before. We don't know what's going to happen. COVID-19 is something that will be in the history books, but like everything else, it has been politicized. The murder of Floyd is no exception. Media outlets seem to have their hands full with these two topics, but none of these topics can seem to exist without an argumentative spin. Yes! You got it! Yet we are reactionary people. We let media outlets inform us of their opinions, and then we react accordingly. Well, you might say that, but dude, I just, it's up here in my head. You give me too much credit, or not enough, that I'm influenced by all of that shit. We can't just get the news anymore without a spin on it. Whatever. Your show, unfortunately, is evolving into this mold. Disagree. We listen to your take on these unprecedented times and are told that if we don't agree, then we can just fuck off. Well, yeah, maybe I say that, but I might say that from time to time, but you got to understand, no one does that. There's nobody who says what I say. I'm the only one who is doing that. So don't lump me in with all of the news, okay? I don't know, man. I'm just not entertained anymore, he says. All right. I'm in the minority when it comes to your dedicated daily audience, but I guess I just wanted to let you know how I feel. And again, I ask, why? Why do you do that? Why do you feel like, you know me, dude. You know I'm a disaster with anxiety. What's the point of doing this? You don't need to let me know how you feel. I love you dearly. I appreciate all the support, but don't do it. I'm asking as a favor. Please. You're a beautiful human being, as evidenced by your recent interview with a listener involved in the drunk driving accident and you and Diana offering up the kidney. It's this type of material that keeps me listening. It's the stories of your family and your neighbors and your interactions with others that I miss. Oh, they're coming today. Trust me. There's plenty of those today. You see? You just got to wait, man. Don't panic. Okay? I had a fun weekend of crazy shit happening. I have nothing but awkward and silliness and ridiculousness to tell you about today. If you'd have just waited one more day, man, you would have been there. But instead, you threw me into the abyss of anxiety because I'm a pussy. That's what you did. I would hope that you go back to not giving us your opinions on the daily news all the time. Dude, I'm the only one giving you the opinions on the daily news. I'm the only person you're going to listen to tell you straightforward off the top of my brain what is going on. And if you can't handle it, that's your problem. That's not my problem, okay? I am paid by you to just do it. If you're so screwed up here that you have to, now I hate your guts, and here you go. I'm going to tell you. Again, forgot the comedian who said it. As soon as it leaves my mouth and gets into your brain, it is your problem. It's not mine. I know it's going to be tough. I know it's got to be tough coming up with material. No, not really. I pretty much talk about what I want to talk about. But you are a talented and entertaining guy, and I would hate for you to be categorized as just another media asshole. You are better than that. Peace and blessings. Dude, come on. I've got a gigantic ego, and I'm very proud of what I've created. I think it's the shit, okay? And I've thought that about myself, and I have to think that about myself, because the second I start to think that I suck dick and I'm terrible, the show's gonna tank. I gotta be confident that what I'm doing is the real deal, man. So, all right, that happened, and it immediately threw me into a terrible abyss, and I'm like, fuck, man. In my stupid, damaged brain, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And all it takes is one email like that, and I'm fucked. Okay, I can get 10 good ones, and like a bitch, I copied and I blocked out dude's first and last name, even though in the email I referred to him by his first name and I responded. God, was this embarrassing. Then I posted it, and then people were making me feel good, and then I'm like, God, I gotta delete this. I responded with emotion again. As much as he responded with emotion by sending me that email, I shouldn't have done that. I felt like an idiot. He ended up, I didn't even know he had my number, my cell phone number. A lot of listeners have my cell phone number. He texted me and was like, oh, man, I can't believe it. I can't believe I did that. And he felt like an idiot. And kind of wanted to take it back. I did write back to him, though, and this is what I was just pissed when I wrote this. But I don't think I said anything terrible. I wrote, dude, here's the long and short of it. A person in my spot cannot change the flow of the river, which is what I was talking to you about. I position my show as a daily expletive-filled rant covering news, nonsense, and my adventures. At certain points, different portions of these variables fill the show. I got to let the river take me where it takes me. I don't like to talk about all the weirdo stuff going on, but that's all that's been going on. Period. I do my best as the show to be as show busy as possible and talk about silly things or try to put a silly spin on stories that would otherwise be serious. Don't forget, I'm alone. I have no staff. The only time I do not think about my content is when I sleep. Yeah, I try so hard to put on a damn good show. I wish you'd have understood this before you wrote, because I oftentimes struggle with these. Thanks. I guess you have a choice. Make it and be done with it. I appreciate the support up to this point. My show is what my show is. I'm being me. I spit it out there, and you can take it or leave it. Good luck, but please do not give me any more dramatic updates about your long history of support and then give me a goodbye. And I really do mean that. Now that I've calmed down and my feelings are done being hurt, and me and this person have made up, and he hopefully isn't offended that I took this to the podcast. I try to be as honest with you about shit. I try to be as fun when I can be. I try to be as serious when I have to be. I cry on this show. It is absolutely, in my opinion, a true opening up of my brain. I crack it open every single day, and I'm like, here you go. And if I can just get a handful of you people to commit to it, and you have, I can do this till the day I die. And I can, and I don't think there's anybody that does what I do on a daily basis. And I'm extremely proud of that. Extremely happy with how this has gone. So that's it. And I hope I don't have to have that discussion again. And I know it sounds like a big baby move on my part. I realize that, and I feel bad about it. But all I'm asking is, if you got to go, just go. Just do me that last favor, and just don't tell me. Just don't give me the long goodbye. And I'll be so thankful for it. I want you to stay as long as you can. But what I do really recommend is, if I do piss you off or you just can't handle it or whatever it is, just give me a break. Take a little break off and come back and check me out. So, all right. Whew. Cleansing. I feel good. Email from Tim. Emailer Tim is back. You can send your emails along, Eric at ericzaneshow.com. Now, emailer Tim, most of his emails, he thinks he's so damn funny. Oh, he writes, Zane, I just finished the free podcast from Friday. Is that the free one? Oh, yeah, it was the free Patreon Friday. Free Patreon Friday, where you and Stu were talking about white privilege and how you weren't exactly sure how to view the world through a non-white privilege lens. Tim writes, have either of you or Stu considered putting black paint on your face and driving around? I think that would give you a real perspective on life. Signed, emailer Tim. You are an idiot, Tim. Tim constantly is tongue firmly planted in cheek, and he is stupid. That is a perfect example of one of his dumbass emails. Okay. I had many adventures up north this past weekend, and I will get to them in just a second. But first of all, the open of the Eric Zane Show podcast is brought to you by Green Clean Technologies. In fact, they sponsor the email. Email Eric at ericzaneshow.com on the Green Clean Technologies inbox. What the hell is Green Clean Technologies? What they do, they are like a janitorial service for high tech and data centers in businesses like hospitals, banks, any place that has an enormous data center, even a small data center. The last thing you want is all of those teeny tiny dust particles getting inside of those key, critical, fragile pieces of equipment. If that happens, your stuff, your data could be compromised. You must have a company like Green Clean Technologies come in there every so often and do what they do. Get a quote. You can go to their website, greencleantechnologies.com. By the way, that's more like a landing pad, and then there's like an info page on there. Just click on it, and it says request a quote, and you just click on that and do it. Or you can call them at 989-560-7272. Joe Martinez, Senor Martinez is here with A&E Heating and Cooling. It's going to be 95 degrees tomorrow here in West Michigan. 95 degrees is what they're forecasting. Oh, man. I certainly hope your AC is tuned up, because if it goes south, oh boy, that's a problem. To get the AC tuned up, it's only $89 normally for all you Zane Show podcast gringos. But if you mention that you listen to the show, you're going to get it for $79. Call Joe at 616-516-8579. Maybe you need a new air conditioner or a furnace installed. Joe works with this great company called The Comfort Maker, Air Conditioning and Heating, and they want you to comfort with confidence. This great company, that's what Joe installs. If you're getting The Comfort Maker, Air Conditioning or Heating, you are getting the best. Comfort with confidence with The Comfort Maker. Joe Martinez is going to give you the best deal on an install. 616-516-8579. Where at A&E Heating and Cooling, they say,
Tu madre es una puta.
that's their slogan.
Vete a la chingada, cabrón.
All right. Where am I here? All right, it was a good weekend, man. Went up north to Fear Bunker North, and this is where the adventures start. Okay. So I go up there by myself and 2 dogs. And the goal is I'm going to start to flip that old 1952, I think it is, Pontiac Chief trailer that is on the property up north in Grayling, Michigan. And so this is gives me time to get away from, get out of this house where I not only do I live here, but I work here. So when these walls, it's kind of, you see the same damn thing, makes you a little kooky. That's why you act like a crybaby when you get an email that hurts your feelings. Embarrassing. So I'm gone. I ended up sorting things out with that Brian who I was just referring to, and I was like, okay, I was able to put that to bed. He was kind enough to reach out to me. It's all in the rearview mirror. Let's go up north and have a good time. I got out of here later than I wanted, but no big deal, man. I'm gonna go relax. I'm in the motor home, so it's good. The dogs are in the front seat, or they're just kind of like checking out other drivers. I'm doing my usual 59 miles an hour. Get on a 131 north of town. There's a massive traffic jam. Everybody's going up north. I'm like, no problem. I'm in the right lane, just minding my own business. You get those. That's one thing. It says road work 3 miles ahead. And nowadays there's been like a war between motorists who do the zipper and those who don't do the zipper. What are you? When I'm in a car, I do the zipper, okay? The zipper is I go all the way to where the sign says get over here, and then I cut somebody off. Now you're supposed to take turns, but all the people that are in the line who got in ahead of you, they think you're an asshole, so they don't want to let you in. But I'm really good at doing it, so I just cut people off. Which, by the way, you're supposed to do what I'm doing. You're supposed to take turns there, but nobody does. I still keep seeing vigilante guy who blocks that lane that goes all the way to the sign. And nowadays they even have signs that as you're entering the work zone that says, do the zipper. You got to do the zipper, because what you're doing is if you get over 2 miles early, you're creating the problem, okay? If you go all the way to the end, you're going to shorten that time. But nobody does that, no matter how hard you try to get the word out. The zipper is something that people do not adopt. And nowadays, the zipper is like it's getting worse and worse with the trucks, and the other motorists are being vigilantes. And so I watch it all. Now, the only time I've driven any amount of distance recently has been to go up north. So I don't try to do the zipper when I'm in the RV, because I'm pulling a car behind me. I just get over and just take it easy. I mean, I'm not going to, it's not like I'm driving a Lamborghini that I can just cut in and out of traffic. So everybody's being an asshole. I'm listening. I'm driving along, doing this thing, and away we go. Really excited about getting up there. I get up there. The grass is like waist high. The dogs immediately start eating the grass. They end up getting sick inside of the camper, puking in the camper because they've eaten all. Why is it that dogs do that? When the grass is short, they don't eat it. But when it's long, they're like cows. All they do is just eat grass. Like, stop eating the grass. Come on. So I know as soon as I get up there that some of my time is going to be spent cutting the grass on this property. It's a lot of grass to cut. But luckily, I've got a riding mower, and it's a classic. If you ever saw the movie Forrest Gump, it's an old school snapper with that U-shaped handlebar deal that you drive around, and it's just a kidney rattler. Oh my God. And you're sitting there on this thing, and I'm doing the Forrest Gump, cutting the grass the next day. And as I'm driving, I noticed it's starting to lose a little power, and it's misfiring. I'm like, oh, there's something wrong with it. This is like 100 years old, so I'm like, oh, this thing's got to be circling. It's got to be near death anyway. And then it goes, pow! I'm like, what the hell just happened? And I'm like, son of a bitch. Now, it's got an electric starter on it. And I reach over, and I think that was like retrofitted to have this thing. Typically you pull start it, but it's got an electric starter somebody installed on it years ago. I don't know who the fuck's installed it. I lean over, and I go to press it, and it starts. It's doing that, and it's not starting. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I get out of the seat, and I turn around, and two things. First of all, I noticed that the gas cap is gone. There's no gas cap on it. It's such a bone rattler that the vibration loosened the cap while I was cutting it. It has fallen off, and the gas has poured as all the bouncing I'm doing, and I didn't smell anything. And there's gas all over the place. There's no gas in the, I looked in the thing, and there's still gas, and I go, well, it still should start. There's some gas in here, but somehow I lost the fucking cap. So I'm like, holy shit. And I start, like, walking where I've mowed. There's no way you're going to find it. It's a huge area, you know? I'm like, oh, God, this is terrible. So I get a red Solo cup, all right? And, I cut the bottom of this cup, and it's going to work. I'm like, I'm doing a DIY thing here. And I put the cup on there, and then I should have taken a picture of this. I put duct tape around, and I go, all right, we're in business. Cool. But first I put gas in it before I did that in case that was the problem. I go to start it again, and it won't start. I go, I don't know, maybe there's a vacuum problem or something. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a mechanic. I don't have any idea. So then I walk around the thing, and I figured out the problem. The spark plug, not only has the gas cap come off, the spark plug, which, you screw in the spark plug, has fallen out. The vibration or whatever took it fell out, and the little wire that attaches to the other end of the spark plug, it's holding the spark plug still, so it's hanging out like a fucking fishing lure. Like the whole plug. And I go, oh my God, well, this is ridiculous. Now I look at the plug where the spot where the spark is. What is that called? It's called like the gap, and it's so black. It's like all fouled out, so no doubt this thing burns oil. In fact, when you run it for any amount of time and you shut it down, you can see smoke just coming out of the thing from its burning oil. There's something wrong with this thing. So, all right. So I go, well, the plug's out. I might as well, clean it, I guess. So I pour gas on it, and I get a wire brush, and I scrape it as best I can, and I put it back in there, and I still can't get the damn thing to start. And I'm like, shit, all right, this is a problem. I think I need a new plug. So off I go. I get the car. It's time to go to town. Saturday. I go into Grayling. Now, you go into this. I go into this a small engine place, and it's the same guy who's worked there for as long as I can remember. And he's got him and his brother and his son. So they're all related. And before that, I talked about this on a Facebook Live over the weekend. Before that, their dad owned it. Now, every single small business in Grayling is like this, and it's not uncommon for, people to come in and get, they like, will trade. I'm not kidding you. Food, they'll trade food for service. Fucking, who knows, beads, chickens, happens all the time. I'm not kidding about that. If somebody who has a hardware store, he might come in and they might work with each other. It's amazing how this happens. Now, this place is a classic because you go in there, and it looks like there's shit everywhere in front of the place. When they repair something or when something needs to be repaired, like if they repair it, they just push it out the door, okay? And if you want to get something fixed, you just show up and push it over in the same area and say, hey, Tony, I got this old snapper here. All right, I'll be back in a couple days. See ya, bye. You go into the place, same thing. It's like a graveyard for like old school equipment. Like people get their stuff repaired all the time, and that's what these guys do. And the whole place is just like there's just shit on the walls, and I mean it's like from a bygone era. No one does business like this, but this is how it is up there. So it's got a lot of culture and uniqueness to it, and some real local flair. Okay, so I go into and I see these dudes, and I've seen them many times, and they kind of recognize my face, but not really, and I'm pretty sure they know that I'm not from around there. Okay, but this was the dynamic as I go into there. First of all, while you're there, people walk in all the time, and everybody knows each other's name. Hey, Gene. Hey, Ronnie. Hey, Paul. Hey, Jack. And nicknames. Everybody's got coveralls on, huge beard, food in the beard, grease on the face, drunk, high, stoned, old, young, fat, skinny, everybody. They all know each other's names. While I'm there, I realize I need a weed eater, okay? And so I go, hey, I think I need a weed eater. He goes, well, go get it. There's one right there. And there really was. It was like a few different models. Now, I didn't realize that you just go and grab the one off the wall. But he did. He grabbed the one off the wall. And he goes, there's an instruction book around around here for this somewhere. And he's like looking for the book that comes. He goes, all right, here it is. And yeah, they want me to give you these protective glasses here too. And all right, now it's time for the tutorial. Now, this has happened before. I even talked about this years ago when I bought a chainsaw from this dude. The guy is so classic. He gives you a history lesson on weed eaters. And, you know, he goes, let's go out in the parking lot. I'll show you how it works. Now, I know how it works, but I'm paying for this. I want this entertainment. I want to have this interaction again. And I could have stopped him, but he's in heaven here. This guy is just perfect. And he get, you know, back in, well, it was 1934 when the first weed eater was invented. And, boy, you should have seen that thing. It was and he's going all back in time about this and that. And he's telling me about how the modern weed eater is different than the old school weed eaters. And it was invented in this town. And, oh, my God. And so he then tells me the basics of the carburetor and why it does this and how the intake does that and the exhaust and how this is a superior model and I can bring him back anytime, 2-year guarantee. He told me everything about it. Awesome. It took way too much time, though. But I knew it going in that this was going to happen. So, all right, did that. And all I did was I went in there to get a gas cap and a spark plug. He did take care of that, and those were good things. All right. Then we go back in, and I made the mistake of asking this question. So, have you guys just opened up? Because, you know, the state is opening up again because of the pandemic. And the brother of Tony, the dude I was talking to, he goes, fuck no! And I'm like, huh? Wait, what? Now, this is going to be one of those scenarios where these guys hate the governor. And this is that dynamic I was telling you about before where people will just tell you what's on their mind and they have no care what you feel, and they might even assume that you agree with them. But, you know, I mean, I don't, but I'm not going to say anything because these guys will kill me, okay? These street grease monkeys will just grab one of those freaking lawnmower blades off the wall and do that scene where Carl hit Doyle Hargraves and Sling Blade, just ka-plunk, right on the head. And I'm like, I go, yeah, look at that. And they go, that bitch shut us down. And all we did was turn the open sign to, we turned off the open sign, but stayed open. Everybody around here did that. And I believe him. And he goes, yeah, we were open the whole time. We just turned the sign off. He was serious. I go, oh, yeah. And then they start, like, all three of them start, like, dogging Whitmer. And I realized that I was in trouble because I waited too long to say anything to join in their attack. And that might have revealed that I don't really agree with that. So they started to call her terrible names and shit. And I'm sitting there going, oh, fuck, here we go. And then I realized that I've been silent for too long, and I better join in, or else I'm gonna wind up like Doyle. So I go, yeah, that bitch. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Right. Screw her. I was at the Capitol. I was the one with the Barbie doll on the news. That was me, man. Yeah. And they're like, they're just not buying it. And I could feel it. I could feel them kind of looking at me with that stink eye. And but they let me slide. They let me slide. After they unloaded on the governor, ended up paying for my stuff. I don't know what my problem is with my voice. Hang on. And off I go. Now remember, there's that lawnmower. Okay. I also bought a can of starter fluid. Spray the starter fluid in where the spark plug goes. By the way, if you have any ideas to what's going on here, because there's a lot more to the story about this lawnmower, I might need your input. I'm suspecting I will hear from the usual sources about the idiocy here. I put the spark plug starter fluid in there, put in the new spark plug, put on the new gas, took off my solo cup gas cap, put on the new gas cap. I go back in business. I mean, this is great. I got that great interaction in my brain. I'm going to talk about that, and now I'm back in business. Fire it up, grab a Bush NA, and I'm mowing. I get as far away from the starting point of the property as I'm by the road. I'm like 200 yards down, and I'm acting up. Kablam, kablam, sputter, backfired. Yeah. Stop. Stops. I'm like, all right. Take off my new gas cap. Still gas in there, but I thought, well, I don't know, maybe I am out of gas. I walk back, get the gas can, walk all the way back, fill it up with gas, set the gas cap down, start it up. It starts up. I go, all right, back in business. Sweet. Yeah, let's go mow some more. It went about 10 seconds, and then it stopped again. And then I hit the starter. Remember I told you it's an electric starter. And it's going, and it's slowing down. I'm like, that's weird. Is the battery dead? And then it goes, it's giving me the impression that it's stuck. So I'm still getting power from the battery. The starter is wanting to crank. The new spark plug's wanting to fire. Why does it seem like it's stuck? I put it in neutral, turn it around, walk it all the way back to the shed. I'm not going to look at it right away. I have a push mower. I start the push mower up. I have a thought of what's going on, what the problem is, but I don't want to tell you what that is right now. Finish mowing with push mower. All right, now I'm going to take a look at this thing. Do you remember that long lecture I gave Jacqueline about putting oil in her car? You remember that? I gave her so much shit about putting oil in her car. She was down 3.5 quarts of oil in that Mercury Milan, which, by the way, some dude's supposed to come pick that thing up, by the way. It dawned on me that I hadn't put oil in that damn thing in a long time. And every time I get done, it's like I said, it's smoking. It burns oil. So I open up the spot where the oil goes in, and I look down, and it's dry as a bone. There is no oil, and that motor has seized. Right? Isn't that what? Does that sound right? Is there anyone listening to this who knows anything about this sort of thing? Does that sound like I have done just that? Seize the motor. Okay. I don't think I need someone to confirm this, because A, no oil, and B, the motor's seized. Man, I felt like such a cock. So in my mind, I'm like, well, I just destroyed this beautiful antique. It's ruined. Now I gotta get it on a trailer and go take it to Tony and the other Whitmer haters and have these fuckers fix it. If it's even worth it, I might as well just drive it into a lake and be done with it, you know? So, but then on a whim, I go into the shed and I find a thing of oil. And it takes a lot of oil. I poured the oil in, and it took a lot. And I go, well, let's give it a try. In my opinion, what I know is I always thought that if the motor seizes, it's destroyed. It's ruined, right? So I push the starter, and it goes just like I did before, but I let up and did it again, and then I could tell it moved a little. It went, so something happened. So I was like, what? And then I held it again. It goes, and it started up. It started throwing oil, and it's the thing fucking worked. It was crazy. It fired right up after it lubricated itself. Is that a thing? Can that happen? Or was this a miracle? Okay. It started up, and it seemed to have a little less pep in its step, which is understandable. I basically gave it CPR. I don't think it's going to, work. It might have a little bit of the life off of that motor after, it seized. But I drove it around and gauged the blade. It seemed to not move as fast. And maybe it's just not, it has something to do with all of what I just talked about. But, man, holy shit. So I think it's back. That is a full-on shenanigan. That's all from just one moment. One moment in time becomes a gigantic story. My God. I have an update on the kidney donation thing. And promised you I would keep you up to date on this whenever I got details. So it isn't that big of a deal. It isn't that gigantic, but we're getting there. That comes up in just a second. And I need to talk about Forrest Fenn's treasure being found. Wow, this is an incredible story. That comes up in just a bit. Stand by. Friday, I'm staying in town. We got Fear Bunker Trivia happening. It's open for all Patreon members. If you want to be involved on Fear Bunker Trivia on Zoom, you must be on Patreon. If you're on Patreon, you're in business, okay? All you have to do is join on Patreon, and you can be in on Fear Bunker Trivia. Every time we play, I have at least 10 of you on Zoom in a trivia contest, all right? And all you have to do is be a member on Patreon to play. We're going to play on Friday. The winner gets $50 from Bennett Flooring Installations. So in order to play, you got to be on Patreon. Sign up at patreon.com/Eric Zane. This portion of the show brought to you by the Kent County Health Department. They are open on June 15th. Okay, June 15th, they're open, providing all of the services that they had normally been providing that had been shut down during the pandemic. They had a skeleton crew working during the pandemic, and it is still going on. The pandemic is still happening, but they are opening. 616-632-7200 if you need to get involved with the WIC program. If you've been struggling, need some cash for food, 616-632-7200. Kent County Health Department, regarding COVID-19, they are reminding you to cough into the elbow, wear a mask when you go out in public. And by the way, when I went to see the guys at the small engine place, I think the big giveaway was me wearing the mask. They were like, whatever, take that off, stupid. Wear a mask when you go out in public and be socially distant from each other, if you can. Just follow the guidelines of the state, if you could, as best you can. That would be terrific. And hopefully we'll keep people from getting sick. They're open with the Kent County Health Department, so you can get tested for COVID-19. If you think you got it, reach out to them on their website at the Kent County Health Department, or just call them, 616-632-7100, if you need more information. Blue Frost IT. Don't say it's over. Don't say it's over. Oh, come on. Stay with me. My God. 616-200-8550. Never say goodbye. Never say goodbye. I'm hoping they re-sign. Keep your fingers crossed. They are the small and medium-sized business tech support, the managed IT service provider for you and your business. Please keep them in mind. The pandemic has hit them hard at 616-200-8550. If you need IT support, a managed IT service provider, that means all of the tech that you have inside of your business, you need that stuff updated. You might need new equipment. You might have viruses, phishing scam, ransomware, whatever it is. You got to have an managed IT service team at your beck and call. That's what they do at Blue Frost IT, 616-200-8550. Thank you to Blue Frost IT. Excuse me. For those of you who don't know, it hit me like a bolt out of the blue about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Hold on a second here. Something just popped into my brain. Let me see if this precious little lady of mine can help me out. Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
You sitting by the pool?
Yeah, just having my cup of coffee.
Yeah. I'm in here just hanging out doing my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
So are you having a good summer so far?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, last day of school was June 3rd, so.
Uh-huh. Okay.
That was just a couple days ago.
That's hard to believe. I bet you miss those kids.
Huh?
I bet you miss those kids.
I do, a lot. We're supposed to all meet at Frosty Treat on Thursday, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you think the education process is going to be for the next school year? I mean, as a person who works in education, can you give me an idea what some of these parents might experience?
I really wish I knew. It has caused me great anxiety. I can't even imagine it right now. Scary.
Well, I know, but I mean, do you think when school that you'll go back at like a reasonably normal time?
Yeah, I think some of the things that have been talked about is like splitting it up. So like some kids go like on Tuesday and Thursday, and the other half will go on Monday and Wednesday, and then like on Friday is they all learn online so that they can sanitize the school and that type of thing.
Wow. What about class size?
Yeah, that's another problem. And, we have no room to spread out. So at least in the school I work at and in any school, really, there's, we're
right.
pretty much at capacity. So how we are going to spread out. And
do you like to spread out for me?
Oh, somehow I knew that was going to go like that.
I've been talking to the audience about your ridiculous sexual appetite lately and how, making me work
I don't know what fantasy world you're living in, but I'm trying to figure this.
Yeah, you can't treat me like that. I'm not a piece of meat. I'm reaching out to you actually because I need a favor.
What?
I need some water. My throat is dying.
You have a sore throat?
No. I mean, like I've been talking for like the last hour, and sometimes I forget. Usually I don't have any water in here, and I think I need to make that a habit because then I don't struggle because I need some water.
You know what you should do? You should plug in the refrigerator that was given to you as a gift that we, kind of thought you would really enjoy and like. That's in your studio, and then keep some bottles of water in there, and then you could just get one when needed.
All right. Yeah, I'll think about that. I don't want to pay for the energy cost, though.
Eric, we're being a cheapskate.
Look, it all cuts into the overhead here. I mean, it's not like I think it's wise to be frugal. What's wrong with being frugal? I'll tell you what. You go.
I'm going to sell it.
I'll tell you what. You go do Shipped, and then I'll pay. I'll do it.
I am going to do Shipped. I just got my shirt. Don't rush me. I have to choose the days that are not good to sit by the pool.
All right. Now, so could you bring me some water? But before you do that, I can hear in the background that pool filter. Could you make sure it's sucking water?
Yeah.
It sounds weird to me. It sounds like it's struggling.
Okay, I'll check, and then I'll bring you some water.
Okay, and don't show your boobs to these people. No, not now. But when you come in here, don't, because you actually came in here the other day, naked as a freaking baby, and
I will.
And you
I
didn't.
think
You
I
had
get in the shower.
You had no idea what. Can you imagine if I was on there? If I had that camera on, you came
I
walking
knew you
in.
weren't. I knew you weren't, didn't I? I was looking for the light.
Well, I know that, but you still had to open. That is not a good thing. You don't want to do that. That could backfire on you, and then
Listen,
everybody would see your boobs.
sometimes you have to give someone a show.
No, we don't.
Make their day.
No, we don't, because then that's all right. I'm gonna let you go.
There's plenty of water in there.
All right. Come give me some water, and then I'll
Bye.
I'll give you some semen later. She just hung up. Oh, God. All right, where am I? What was I going to talk about? This might be the longest podcast I've ever done. And honestly, when I sat down here, I said, I don't know what I'm going to talk about today. Granted, it's no interviewing the guy from Mr. Burger, the head fry cook and the owner of Mr. Burger for 2 hours. Can you believe that? Can someone who is a fan of Rogan explain to me how you find that entertaining? How is it entertaining? I mean, I tried. And yet, I mean, seriously, there is no way in hell that is more entertaining than anything. There's no way. The only thing it's probably more entertaining than is me. All right. So, as you know, that lovely lady that you just heard, that beautiful sex addict, Diana, and I were donating kidneys. I had a conversation with my brother the other day, and he said to me, he goes, maybe only one of you. And I go, why? He goes, well, what if one of your family members needs that? And normally when he says something, I'm like, it doesn't make sense. I always say, it doesn't make sense. But he might be onto something right there. So, I would hate to, let's say I'm a perfect match for, one of my kids, and something goes south with them. So that is a possibility. I'm going to talk about that with the experts as time passes. But for now, all systems go. Ultimately, the goal was to get this pal of mine a kidney. And this is a person I've become very close with in the last few weeks. I had no connection with this person in the last 32 years other than maybe one or two Facebook instant messages. Thank you, honey. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hi, everybody.
Okay, bye. See you around. See you later. So, close the door, dummy. It's not closed all the way. There you go. All right. So yeah, I encountered then I had a what do you call it? I haven't spoken to this guy in 32 years. I had one dynamic where we were talking back and forth about 7 years ago. For some reason, he popped into my head about 3-4 weeks ago. Next thing you know, I'm in a conversation with him later that day. Hey, how are you? How's life been? I see you're extra successful. Yeah, what are you doing? Stupid podcast. Oh, yeah. He's like, I'm battling a health issue. I didn't ask. A few more exchanges in the dialogue, and then I see another. He references it again. He goes, I'm really sick. It's maybe one day I'll tell you about it if you're interested. So that to me was person who's asking for help. And I'm like, well, I'd love to hear about it, man. I didn't say that. I said, I'm truly interested. I'll call you later on. And then he said, it's kidney failure, stage 5, which is it. And there is no stage 6, stage 5. His kidneys are gone. And what I've learned at this point is that he is on dialysis 12 hours a day, every day. And it's awful. And he's had 7. When it comes to kidney donation, you have to do it yourself. You got to find your own living donor. It's crazy how they do it. You can be on a list, but it never works. You got to get your own donor. And he's had 7 people try, 7 people failed. And it's been heartbreaking, he said. And then it hit me. And that's when it hit me. And God banged me over the head. I've talked about this many times. He hit me right over the head with that hammer, and he goes, Eric, give him your kidney. And I was like, no, God, I'm not going to do that. And he goes, I'm telling you, give him your kidney. Run this ground ball out. Try to give him your kidney. And so then I didn't say anything to the guy, but I did talk to Diana. And I said, so if you, and I gave her the variables. I go, I haven't seen a person in 32 years, went to school with them. You were chummy with them, but not best friends. You've only talked to this person once or twice on Facebook. Then you find out just now that this person needs a kidney. Would you give that person a kidney if you found out you were a match? Yes, I would. She instantly answered. I go, so would I. Oh, my God. Oh, this is great. Let's do it. Let's tell this guy that we want to donate our kidneys to him. And she goes, oh, my God, it'd be incredible. Yeah, do it. So I texted him. I go, hey, man, what blood type are you? And I forget what Diana is. She's the universal donor. I don't know if that's O negative or O positive. Whatever. I think she's O negative. I'll ask the staff here. I always forget. I don't know why I need to know this, but it's on my brain. O positive is the universal donor. So Diana is O positive. I am O negative. Well, actually, I didn't know that. Diana goes, you're O negative. I go, how do you know? She goes, because we had children together and I know these things. I had to get the Rogam shot. And I go, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. She goes, well, it's because you don't pay attention. It's because you were drunk during the birth of our first child, you sick bastard. Now make your face like a chair. And I go, oh, okay. So I said to him, I go, well, what blood type are you to this person? I go, I am O negative and my wife is O positive. We could donate a kidney to you. And I remember he wrote, oh, man, don't make me cry. I'm going to cry. That is a hard ask to ask anybody. And I wrote, and then he wrote that he's O negative. I go, well, you didn't ask me anything. I offered it. What do you think about that? So God is in my brain going, good job, Eric. That's what I wanted you to do. You did the right thing. Now, go see it out. Go out there and build the kingdom. Give this guy some faith. Give him some love. He is your brother. Do it. And we have remained steadfast in that, and I cannot wait. By the way, I have a person that I need to reach out to who has done this, donated a kidney. And I haven't yet scheduled it. But, yeah, I've got a person who is a listener of the podcast and who actually has done this. And I think I have a history with this person. I think this might have had something to do with my old show on Free Beer and Hot Wings. But anyway, I'm going to get this person on to help discuss the dynamic of going through this. She actually did this exact thing, and I can't wait to talk to her. I just haven't had a minute to schedule it. So I'm pretty stoked about getting some insight from this person, from her perspective, because she has done what I'm going to do, or Diana is going to do, God willing. Well, now all that I've told you right now is stuff that I've told you before, so I hope it doesn't seem boring because a lot of you have already heard that part of this. But, after time passed, I filled out a donor form, living donor form, via a couple of places, 2 institutions that my pal works with, Baylor University and UCLA medical kidney transplant thingy. Baylor does it one at a time. They have a candidate in mind, and they're working with that candidate right now. And the way they do it there is different. They don't have multiple lines in the water. They don't have multiple candidates going. They do it one candidate at a time for this person. If that person doesn't work out, then they move to the next person in line. So that's as far as I got with Baylor University in Texas. Same thing with Diana. With UCLA, much bigger, different, operate a different way. Diana and I are in contact with both of these with both Diana and I are in touch with UCLA. And the latest update is they reached out late last week and said, we have examined your medical records from your latest physical. We gave them the okay to do that. And so they went ahead and they looked over the results, our blood work and things like that. And the latest is there is no reason to not continue. We are continuing down that road. If they'd have taken a look at it and said, okay, this is a problem, I don't know if we can pursue this, but not the case. They did say, hey, Eric, it looks like your liver, some of the numbers on the on what happens within the liver is a little bit out of the green zone, okay? And now that has been a thing with me forever. And she said, but that might not mean a damn thing. And the other thing is, it looks like your cholesterol was a little bit nutty the last time you had blood work done. Not bad by any stretch. And there's a million and one reasons why it could be that way. But they said, we are not concerned about that. We are ordering more blood work. So this is the next step. This process is going to take a year, maybe a year and a half. So, but all these multiple hurdles, if you make it through all of the hurdles, then you go to Los Angeles, laparoscopy procedure where they remove your kidney and then put it into recipient. Recipient has a long 6-week recovery in the hospital. Eric or Diana has a day and a half. You go home. 6 weeks later, you are at 100%. I have become an advocate for this. If this is something you want to go into, you want to go down this road, reach out to me, Eric at ericzaneshow.com on the Green Clean Technologies inbox, and I will give you information that was presented to me when I first started to go down this road and when Diana first started to go down this road. So the update is another hurdle cleared. Now we get basically kits mailed to us about with paperwork and various testing that needs to be done here in town, and then it gets sent over to there. By the way, what's great about this is if you donate a kidney, everything's free, obviously. Every test, every hotel stay, every flight, there is zero cost to the donor. Not a damn thing. It is all covered with the best. You will not pay out 1 cent. It's absolutely phenomenal. And if I can just get one person to be a living donor of a kidney, man, would that make my day. But you got to reach out to me. I got to hear from you. You can remain anonymous. I just want to talk to you, man. If you're even thinking about it. Eric at ericzaneshow.com. Hang on. Got to get some water that lovely angel gave me. Hang on. That needs to be on my list of things to have ready, Kenny. Add that to the list. I did, by the way, reboot the router before I started here, Kenny. And I did turn on the AC. I did not make sure the feed was live right away, but I did check on it later. All right. I've talked on the show about the legend of Forrest Fenn. He's kind of a little bit of a crazy guy. If your name's Forrest Fenn, you got to be kind of a crackpot. You know he's a hippie out west. Famed art and antiquities collector, Forrest Fenn. So super rich dude. Decided years ago he wanted to take a bunch of expensive shit worth millions of dollars, put it into an actual treasure chest, and hide it in the Rocky Mountains, and then make it known that in a book that he had written, that the location of the treasure explicitly is detailed in the book, but not easy to find, very tricky, and designed to be a real challenge. And so, I mean, this is fantastic. He puts it out there, and if you happen to find his treasure, you'll be rich. Now, my first thought is, can you imagine if you're just somebody who stumbled upon it by accident? That would be incredible. But he swore that there is no way anyone would ever stumble upon this treasure. There are some who thought it was just a wild goose chase, said there was no treasure. People died trying to find the treasure. And, yeah, I remember talking about on this show about this guy. If I'm him, knowing that people had died while looking for the treasure, I would go to where it was and announce that no more treasure. I'm making it so that this is done. If people are losing their lives and killing themselves over this, I don't want any part of this. But he kept on. Well, it's been found. Somebody found the dude's treasure. 89-year-old Forrest Fenn told the Santa Fe, New Mexican newspaper that a treasure hunter located it a few days ago. The guy who found it does not want his name mentioned. He's from back east, Fenn said. Adding that it was confirmed from a photograph that the dude sent him. He said, look, man, I got it. Fenn did not reveal exactly where it had been hidden. Come on, man. Would somebody spill the beans on this? You got to tell us, man. This is a friggin' cool thing. Fenn had posted clues to the treasure's whereabouts online and in a 24-line poem that was published in his 2010 autobiography, The Thrill of the Chase. Hundreds of thousands have hunted in vain across remote corners of the U.S. West for the bronze chest believed to be filled with gold coins, jewelry, and other valuable items. Many quit their jobs to dedicate themselves to the search, and others depleted their life savings. At least 4 people died searching for it. I should do this with, like, all Zaniac shit, so we can get a treasure chest and put, like, MB distributing Little Debbie's in there. I could go to Zaniac Amanda and put some of her best dildos in there, whatever we want. Joe Martinez recording of Forbidden Spanish, maybe a paintball gun, and we could hide it somewhere. That's actually not a bad idea. The Eric Zane Show Hide the Treasure Challenge. Find the Treasure Challenge. Hundreds of thousands hunted in vain. At least 4 people died from searching for it. Fenn lives in Santa Fe. Said he hid the treasure as a way to tempt people to get into the wilderness and give them a chance to launch an old-fashioned adventure and expedition for riches. For more than a decade, he packed and repacked the treasure chest. I didn't know that. He sprinkled in gold dust and adding hundreds of rare gold coins and gold nuggets. Pre-Columbian animal figures went in, along with prehistoric mirrors of hammered gold, ancient Chinese faces carved from jade, and antique jewelry with rubies and emeralds. Well, that's great, but it sounds like, if somebody gets all that shit, it's going to be a real pain in the ass to sell it, Fenn told the New Mexican in 2017 that the chest weighs 20 pounds and the contents weigh another 22 pounds. Can you imagine if that guy found it? He's looking all around like fucking Red in Shawshank Redemption when he got that money full of loot under the tree. He's like looking all over, waiting for somebody to plug him with a rifle shot to the head. He delivered the chest to its hiding place by himself over 2 separate trips. Asked how he felt about the treasure being found, Fenn said, I don't know. I feel halfway kind of glad, halfway kind of sad because the chase is over. What a weird dude and what a crazy-ass story. It has been found. All right, more coming up on the podcast. We need to get into the bike maniac in Maryland. I talked about this on the Patreon yesterday. There's a lot of layers to this that have to be talked about. We have a new Karen who's some crazy racist maniac in Phoenix, and boy, did she get what was coming to her. I have the Patreon, as I talked about, Fear Bunker Trivia coming up a little bit later on. On Wednesday, we do Instagram Instant Trivia Challenge brought to you by Baldwin Ace Hardware and Little Debbie, distributed by MB Distributing Incorporated. All you do is follow me on Instagram. 7 p.m. every Wednesday, I go live with the Instagram Instant Trivia Challenge. I'm going live on Instagram. I see the people that are on it. I click your name. You hit accept, and then we're face-to-face, and the world's watching us. 10, 15 people. And then I ask you a trivia question. You got 5 seconds to answer it right. You get it right, you get $10. Thanks to the sponsors for giving me the cash to give away to you. And then I instantly Venmo it or PayPal it to you. No big deal. And I give away 2 $10 prizes every Wednesday. So much fun. If you get it wrong, no big deal. Then we move on to the next one. Okay, that's Wednesday. You got to follow me on Instagram, though. Search Eric Zane Show on Instagram. All one word, Eric Zane Show. All right, so we have the TC Paintball, of course, sponsoring the show, tcpaintballgr.com. Book a party. Book a party this weekend or whatever. 616-249-8227. If you go to tcpaintballgr.com, you can reach out to Rick via his email, and you can book a party that way, too. All right? tcpaintballgr.com is the website. Again, you can call them up anytime, and you can do all this over the phone. 616-249-8227. Play paintball outdoors or indoors, whatever you like, at TC Paintball. Thank you. Terrytown RV, they're going to sponsor my trip to the Smoky Mountains coming up in July. That will be awesome. I'll be doing a short podcast every morning from the Rolling Fear Bunker when I'm in the Smoky Mountains, sponsored by Terrytown RV. It'll probably only be like, 10, 15 minutes. But the point of it all is to show you the fun that we are having inside of our Terrytown RV. 616-236-2754 is their number. TerrytownRV.com. Go check out the inventory or visit them on Division between 68th and 76th Street. You know you've been wanting to go at least take a look at one of their great pieces of merchandise. Do it online or in person. Terrytown RV. Thank you. The hell did I get another FaceTime? Did Diana call me again? I'm not sure which. Hey, did you reach out to me again?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to show you something. I think an colony of ants were born in our yard. There is about 7 million of them.
Where?
In our wood chips.
Yeah, but I know there's about 1 billion spots of wood chips. Where?
Yes.
What? You don't need to show me. Just tell me what part of the backyard.
As you walk out the back door.
Yeah.
To the right, like as you're going down the steps towards the pool.
Yeah. So, are you thinking
there's at least a million of them?
Let me see it, if you could. The audience
I
can't
don't know
see
if
it.
you'll be able to see it because they're black and they blend in with the.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to see it. Oh, hang on, I gotta flip. No, you're not gonna be able to see them.
Yeah.
But they're running.
They've probably been
Do you have
there.
any spray?
No. They've probably been there forever. You know?
Yeah, and I think they just hatched.
Yeah, I did that. I actually laid those eggs there. I knew it was happening. I've been working on that. You didn't know that?
You just wanted to see what would happen?
I just wanted it. It's kind of like my little outdoor thing. I've been working on that deal for a while, so.
It's an entire ant farm in our yard. So.
All right. Well, leave them alone. I don't want any of them to die, so get away from them.
Well, what if they come in our house?
No, it's cool. It's all right. Ants are all right. I like them.
No, they're not.
Okay. All right. I'll do something about it later on. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
All right. Unbelievable. She reaches out to me with that. Hey, guess what? Yeah, I'm not working. on the Patreon on Friday, the story was just unfolding about this dude in Maryland. This is crazy because the information wasn't complete. All we had was a video of some guy, and what it looked like was some guy was riding his bicycle, and he didn't like that kids were posting pictures saying, like, hey, Black Lives Matter, and they're hanging up, like, homemade signs, which, whatever. I mean, I don't think there's no ill will there. It's just somebody trying to do something nice. I mean, this is kind of like the thing to do. I mean, a lot of people are doing stuff like this, and people handle all this craziness in different ways, and they were doing it this way. Well, this guy didn't like the signs, and so he got off his bike, and you see in the video him walking up to a little girl, and she stands still, and she's frozen with fear, and the people behind the camera are going, stop it, leave her alone, just leave her alone. And he grabs her hand and rips the paper and the tape out of her hand, and they're sitting there yelling at him, and he tells them to F off, and then he grabs his bike, and he runs into the person shooting the video with his bike, and the guy falls down. And I thought that everybody, well, hold on, this is exactly how it sounded. Where is it? Hold on. When this all happened, this is how it sounded.
Away from me.
Hey, leave her alone.
Do not touch her. Do not touch her. She has nothing. Do not touch her, sir.
Leave her alone. Sarah, just walk away.
Walk away.
Hey!
Hey!
Get off of her.
Fuck you.
Just get out of here.
Get out of here.
What? Hey! What the fuck?
Give me the fucking tape. You want it?
What?
Give it to me.
That's the tape.
All right. Excuse me. Damn it. Initially, I thought that was an adult, like an older guy shooting the video, and I thought it was weird that he wasn't rushing in. And it was all terrible because he went after this young girl. Well, it turns out that no one was a little girl. The one girl who he ripped you see him rip she's like an 18 or 19-year-old, but she's, I guess, tiny. I thought it was a kid. And I thought that, I'm like, why aren't these adults that you can't see kicking this guy's ass? Well, they must have been intimidated, and they were like 18 or 19 too, but they didn't, I guess they didn't want to go that far, but this guy on the bike did, and he took his bike and he actually assaulted the guy behind the camera. You heard that last part of it. That's what was happening there. So this kind of blew up, and online as of Friday, when I talked about this, the story was at the point where the big bad internet went after trying to locate him. Internet sleuths are pretty effective, and they found the guy and they doxed him. Which, if you don't know, they release all your information to the world. The story gets viral, and then all the different elements add personal information on it. Well, they had the wrong guy. They actually doxed the wrong guy, and the wrong guy was like, "Hey, that ain't me, man." And I mean, everybody was calling him out and trying to end his career, and the police were looking for him, and he goes, "Not me." And then there was even more than one person who was doxed. Well, he's been found. The guy, even though there was, the big bad internet machine. By the way, apparently I flipped it. Typo is universal. I was sorry. I'm seeing an email. I'm going back in stories now. I got the oath positive negative thing wrong. Whatever. Sorry. So this guy started to realize that he's in trouble. They actually got the guy. And now a Maryland man is charged with assaulting 3 teenagers after the video showed him grabbing the flyer. And the way they're describing it is the lawyer for the dude said, yeah, he was on the way to see a priest when he went and picked me up. He hadn't yet been stopped by the cops, which is all weird. Are you suggesting he felt guilty, so he's going to see a priest or what? I'm guessing they're trying to do damage control. In a statement released by his lawyers immediately after his arrest, Anthony Brennan III, the guy, said, I am sick with remorse for the pain and fear I caused the victims on the trail and online. I can't believe she's 19. She is the littlest 19-year-old I've ever seen. Brennan said he is cooperating with authorities, hopes to make amends to the victims and get to the bottom of what he called my abhorrent behavior. Oh, man, no way. At 60 years old, this is burned into you. There's no way. I mean, this guy is trying to save his ass. And by the way, he's in big trouble. He's been charged with 3 counts of assault. The dude was on his way to see a priest and a lawyer when he first learned he was suspected in the assault of 3 teenagers posting the flyers that were protesting the death of Floyd. Charged Friday with 3 counts of misdemeanor second-degree assault. So, that's not the biggest charge in the world. He'll probably plead down, and that'll be the end of it. But we do live in cancel culture. And here's the thing. People talk about, cancel culture is too much. I don't think it is. I think there are times when people who get canceled over shit like this, they got it coming. This, to me, cancel culture is more of a deterrent of terrible behavior than a lot of things. You think about the terrible behavior of people that's been caught on video, and the more stories there are and more people talking about how your behavior can be easily cataloged and disseminated to the world in an instant, that behavior being seen is enough to get you canceled. Thus, you should probably mind your fucking store and not be a cock to people. I have close friends who hate the fact that Brennan here is now fired, and he is. He was like a big-time CEO of a company, and his life has nosedived. His life is over because of this horrible behavior, and I, for one, don't give a shit. I don't agree. I don't agree that all cancel culture should be eliminated. Cancel culture for things like Jimmy Fallon, no. I don't agree with that at all. Cancel culture for this grown man acting like this and behaving like this, yep, you got me. I'm a fan. If that's the case, I could have been fired for behavior in the past. And you know what? So be it. Fuck, do it. Probably should have. This guy's out. He was the, let's see. It was a company called Made to Order Incorporated, a creative marketing company based in, I don't know. It says NBC Bay Area, so I'm guessing it's somewhere in Chesapeake Bay Area if he's from Maryland, right? Am I getting that right? Pleasanton. A creative marketing company. The company said this. Recently, we discovered one of our employees engaged in disturbing, wrongful, and completely unacceptable behavior towards a peaceful demonstration. Made to Order has zero tolerance for this. We took immediate and decisive action, terminating him. Oh, my God. Fuck. Just like that. Terrible behavior is dealt with. Yeah, that's great. What I have no problem with any of this. He officially was like a executive vice president or something like that. I mean, he was a big wig at that company, and the CEO said, "Sorry, you're got career over." What do you do at that point? I guess, you know what? Behave. If you know that there's people watching you, or could be people watching you, and very easily your terrible behavior could be on display, be pleasant. You don't even have to, excuse me, you don't have to be pleasant all the time. I mean, if you disagree with something, it's okay to speak your mind. But at the end of the day, don't be an asshole. Hold on a second. I'm having a terrible time with my throat. Damn it. Okay. Well, I hope I got enough battery on this phone today. Oh, my. What's going to run out first? The battery on the phone or my throat? This one is Phoenix Karen. The Karen is, last Karen we talked about was the lady at Central Park who, dude was there looking at birds. And Phoenix Karen said, hey, what are you doing? And he's giving her dog treats. She's like, don't give my dog treats. And he's like, well, look, you know what? You're supposed to have your dog on a leash anyway. We don't like dogs not leashed here. It destroys the landscape. This is an area that you're supposed to have your dogs leashed up on, or all on a leash. And she freaks out and said, I'm calling the cops and saying that a black man just threatened to kill me. She lost her job. She's screwed. I don't have any problem with that. This lady is in Arizona. She went to a Phoenix gas station, and she was pissed off because the pump wasn't working right. So people are in line, buying their Little Debbie snacks, and she jumps in front, interrupts everybody, says, hey, the fuck, this thing doesn't work, the pump doesn't work, what the hell's going on here? Come on, she's acting like an idiot. Well, the lady was being waited on, this Latina lady who has enormous boobs. I was shocked at the size of the boobs on this lady, who ends up being the one you're rooting for. She gets kind of bummed out at this Karen who's, interrupting everything with this tirade about how the pumps aren't working. So Karen says, yeah, why don't you go back to your country where you came from? That's when it starts. Guy not involved busts out his cell phone and starts shooting video at the time. That's where this video picks up. Okay? You'll hear the discussion between the two belligerents, Karen and Latina lady. Something absolutely awesome happens near the end of it. As it starts, the video starts playing. I'll play the audio. I'll link you up the video in the notes of the podcast or in the news, ericzaneshow.com. She then, Karen turns her attention to guy shooting the video, then goes back to Latina. The problem occurs when she puts her hands on Latina lady. Where the hell is it? Okay, here it is.
Now, are you the manager? Yes. You need to leave. You need to leave. We're not serving you. Hold on, guys. Okay. We're not serving you.
Excuse me, but you did say that she needs to go back to her country. What is that?
Native Americans.
Excuse me, this is what this whole world.
White people are not from this country. Don't serve her. Yeah, you cannot serve her. Don't serve her racist ass.
You don't tell. No. Continue serving. Continue serving.
You need to leave. You're not a part of this. You need to leave. You're not a part of this. No, you do not come in here and use the F word and swear and call me a bitch.
I've never even said that.
I said she is, and you're not a part of
that word.
So you get out of here. I know. I said she is, and that's why she's leaving. So you will leave too.
Okay, so she doesn't work there. She's just a customer whose pump wasn't working, and she's telling people to leave the store. Okay? That's what's happening here. She's just a customer whose gas pump didn't work, and now she raises 5 kinds of hell because the pump isn't working. She's impatient, and then people are like telling her she's rude. So that's when the fight starts. That's when she tells Latina, go back to the country you came from. Now she's fighting 2 battles. Latina and guy on the cell phone shooting video who's on Latina's side. That's what.
The F word and swear and call me a bitch.
I've never even said that.
I said she is, and you're not a part of it.
That word.
So you get out of here. I know. I said she is, and that's why she's leaving. So you will leave too.
No. This is going all over the internet. You don't know who I am. You told her to go back to her country, where she's from.
All right, now she's back to Latina, and she puts a hand on Latina. Touches her, grabs her. Guess what happens?
Yeah.
You guys know that, right?
Yeah.
Where were you born? Where were you born, bitch? I was born in America, bitch. Where are your ancestors from? They're not from this country. You're going back to Mexico. Bitch, you better go back to where you're from.
You just walked into her. Excuse me?
Hey, bitch, you just touched me.
Wow,
Oh my God.
Yeah, you deserved it.
Oh my God.
In my opinion. Yeah, you pushed her and she smacked you. That was self-defense on her part.
Oh, she grabbed me.
Nope.
Karen grabs little Latina lady with the huge boobs. And she brought it down. The hand, she dropped the shoulder, Latina, so she could get extra momentum. And she swung it around. And Karen, what did the 5 fingers say to the face? Whammo! Oh!
Excuse me.
Oh, there it was. Did you hear it?
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Hit her right in the face. Karen turned around and she goes, "Oh my God," and just took off and walked away.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Karen goes, "Oh my God," as she walks away.
Excuse me.
Yes.
She just touched me. Oh my God.
Yeah, but you deserved it, in my opinion. Yeah, you pushed her and she smacked you.
I like this
That
guy's
was self-defense on her part.
play-by-play.
Nope.
Nope, that isn't outplayed. Everybody saw it. It's fantastic. Now I don't know if Karen's gonna get if she's gonna lose her job over this one, but this is again a perfect example. In public, show some restraint. You just don't want to be that woman or man doing that. And she got exactly what she deserved. I'm sure we will hear more as to what exactly happened in terms of if this chick loses her job, if she even has one. All right, more coming up for you, including the audio of Zeus the Cat. We talked with Allison from Harbor Humane. I got to get the audio of Zeus the Cat coming up in just a little bit. That is next. Cameo for Father's Day is what I have going on. Don't forget about that. Father's Day is right around the corner with the father of the kids, or maybe your dad, whatever it may be. Reach out to me, cameo.com/Eric Zane. I'll give them a fantastic Father's Day shout out that they will remember so much more than a dumb card or a gift certificate to the freaking heart. Well, now go ahead and get him the gift certificate to Baldwin Ace Hardware if you want. Yeah, that's fine. But include this with it. It's only going to set you back about $15, and he'll have it forever. For Father's Day, keep me in mind. Cameo.com/Eric Zane. JM Synthetics, also something great for Dad, man. If he's a DIY pro, got to get your AMSOIL products. Get them in time for Father's Day. JMSynthetics.com. You can be a preferred customer, that is, open up their whole product line and save big cash. All you got to do is plunk down a 20 and you're good for the year. With that, you spend $100 on your first shopping trip at jmsynthetics.com, and Jason will give you the $20 back at JM Synthetics. Online, jmsynthetics.com. And finally, my pals at Horizon Hydroponics, HORIZEN, hydroponics.com. You know, the stuff likes to be green. Keep it green with the best products money can buy at Horizon Hydroponics. You can pick it up curbside. You can order online, have it shipped to you. For orders $250 and more, free shipping. Or you can just go to the store if that's what you want to do. 4 locations. Grand Rapids on Alpine, Byron Center, the Growers Outlet, Kalamazoo, and Lansing. The amazing folks, terrific business at Horizon Hydroponics. Online at horizonhydroponics.com. Make sure it's HORIZEN hydroponics.com. This cat is available for adoption. I will post the video in the comments of the podcast or just in the news at ericzaneshow.com. Hey, how many of you utilize that? I want to make sure that people actually engage on that. Does anybody even look at the show notes? Do you read ahead? It's weird because on Apple Podcasts, it shows up twice. First with all the links written out, which is weird. And then below it does it again with all the hyperlinks. I have no idea why it does that. But anyway, do you utilize the show notes? And do you actually click on the video links when I tell you to? Or go to my website from time to time and look at the In the News section? I would love to know how many of you actually do interact that way. You can send me an email, eric@ericzaneshow.com. Before we get to this, let's see, Kenny just said, "Hey, Zane, check this out. There's a spam comment on your live feed." Let's see what this is. for a remedy to herpes. Well, you know what? I get a feeling that the show's really starting to get popular if you're getting a fake herpes herbal medicine cure on the Facebook feed. Thank you. As always, reach out, Eric at ericzaneshow.com if you have any feedback on the podcast on the Green Clean Technologies inbox. Okay, if you want to adopt this cat, Zeus, you got to call out to my friends at Harbor Humane, online at harborhumane.org. Zeus is the one I talked about with Allison on Friday. Zeus is a orange tabby, which I love orange tabbies. I've had two. Well, they chose me, actually. Fencer and Buddy Bobcat face. Zeus is a big, big cat. He's fat. And they described him as looking like he's melting because he lost some weight recently because he had a health issue, and they had to feed him through a food tube. So he's not as round and spongy now. The fat's hanging down like a drape of cat fat. So he's quite a treat. He's hysterical. But you can't, anybody can love a big fat cat. I have a big fat cat. Lincoln, the one-eyed wonder cat, is a fat cat. I mean, he is huge. It hangs down, and he doesn't eat any more than 1 cup of food a day. It's remarkable. I don't know if it's a metabolic issue or whatever, but he's fat as hell. This cat is up for adoption. Now, she said on the podcast that his meow or his purr sounds like a cross between, I forgot what she said, something and Chewbacca, maybe a cat and Chewbacca. And so she sent me a video which has the audio of this cat, and I couldn't wait to be able to play it for you. This is audio of Zeus the Cat. Are you ready for this? Yep. That is Zeus. On the video, the camera's right on him, and he's quite an aggressive purr, and for some reason it comes out like this. I don't know if this is going to help or hurt Zeus's chances of getting adopted.
Get out!
Well, maybe if you see the video, he's got a big shaved patch because they had the food tube in. He's better now, though. But Zeus is looking for a forever home. So who wouldn't want the cat? There you go. All right, I was going to cue up the sound effects of the shotgun, but I figured that would probably be not a good idea. We don't want to do that. All right. There you go. That is Zeus. I want to play for you to wrap up the audio of Roger Goodell. This caught a lot of people by surprise. Excuse me. I don't know what my problem is. I don't know how I'm going to get through the Patreon. So, Roger Goodell posted this. Shot a video in his home without Dave Portnoy.
Fuck you, Roger Goodell. If you can't handle a big dick joke, then get a fucking... So fuck you, Roger Goodell.
And while in the house, he talked about racism. And this caught a lot of people by surprise, Roger Goodell.
It has been a difficult time for our country.
So fuck
in
you,
particular,
Roger Goodell.
Black people in our country. First, my condolences to the families of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and all the families who have endured police brutality.
I need to pause right there. I've heard that many times, and I have to be careful in how I say this. But I keep hearing, excuse me, damn it, the deaths of Arbery, Breonna, what is her name? I'm sorry. I apologize.
Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery.
Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd. I keep hearing those three deaths together, and then they say, and all other victims of police brutality. Those are three very, very different incidents. And the death of Arbery has nothing to do with police brutality. That was a black guy running down the street, and two locals thought that he had robbed a construction site, and they were like vigilantes. That was three citizens who thought that well, their story is they say that they were just trying to help or whatever stupid thing they were saying. Those hillbillies that killed that guy. That was not a police-related thing. So I'm struggling when people say, like, lump these together. And Breonna Taylor, that was not police brutality. That was police idiocy. What had happened was the police were doing a no-knock search of a residence. There was Breonna Taylor's former boyfriend was a known drug dealer, and he had one of his former residences was Breonna Taylor's house. The intel the cops had was this was a hot spot for his drug operation, so they did a no-knock search. Busted in. Taylor is there with her boyfriend or family member or some shit, and the guy in the house thinks his home, it's a home invasion. They're plainclothes cops. He does what he's supposed to do, gets out his gun, and shoots what is presumed to be the bad guys. He's shooting at the cops. The whole thing is bungled. One of the cops gets shot. The cops return fire. In the return fire, Breonna Taylor is mortally wounded. She dies. This is a horrible thing with all sorts of problems, but it's not the same as George Floyd at all. So when I keep hearing people grouping those together, and that's not a good idea because they're not at all the same. And Roger Goodell does that, so that's a little bit screwed up.
Families of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor.
Very sad that they died, and I do have a problem with all of their, and I pray for all of their families, and they all deserve justice, but not because of the same exact reason like he kind of alludes to. You know what I mean? Kind of at a little, it's not even 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Those two crimes that happened, those two incidents, other two incidents that happened, hillbillies killing Arbery and cops bungling that case are horrible, but just way different.
Ahmaud Arbery and all the families who have endured police brutality. We, the National Football League, condemn racism and the systematic oppression of black people. We, the National Football League, admit we were wrong for not listening to NFL players earlier and encourage all to speak out and peacefully protest. We, the National Football League, believe.
By the way, how is it that a multi-billionaire can't afford a microphone? It sounds like Stu's podcast. He's talking from across the room. I yell at Stu all the time about that. Roger Goodell is holding up a cell phone and doing this stupid thing. It would have cost you $100 to hook a mic up to that thing.
Black Lives Matter. I personally protest with you and want to be part of the much-needed change in this country.
Okay, so Roger Goodell is going to take a knee. That's my prediction. If that's the case, why isn't he mentioning Colin Kaepernick? If you're suddenly all of a sudden being, if you are going to be on board with this like you are and you're all woke now and the world's with you and you're at this point in the game, you better dive into the Kaepernick thing, but he doesn't. He doesn't. He says, oh, yeah, it's a good idea. I should have been with you to protest. But the one guy who did do it first, Kaepernick, that's the one guy who started it all. So if you really want him, he's kind of being a pussy about it.
Without black players, there would be no National Football League. And the protests around the country.
Oh, you'd have a football league, but it would suck. Nobody would like it.
Are emblematic of the centuries of silence, inequality, and oppression of black players, coaches, fans, and staff. We are listening. I am listening.
No, you're not.
And I will be reaching out to players who have raised their voices and others on how we can improve and go forward for a better and more united NFL family.
So fuck you, Roger Goodell.
There's no way he reaches out to Colin Kaepernick. He would have said it there if he was going to do it. That'll be interesting. After you just said you'll be reaching out to players, are you going to reach out to Colin Kaepernick? Well, he's technically not a player. Yeah, that guy got blackballed. Blackballed from the league. I'm telling you, the Detroit Lions need Colin Kaepernick. That would be the best damn story in the world. I would be so interested in the storyline of Colin Kaepernick being a quarterback because I think it'd be a great story. I'm all for it. Put that guy on a team. He's still got a little bit left in the tank. I, however, do not. Thank you, folks, for listening to this podcast. John's on the bass. Now he's going to crunch in the guitar here, right there. I appreciate your feedback. If you are going to leave, don't announce your big leaving. Don't be dramatic. Just go. Girl, don't go away mad. Girl, just go away. But if you're going to stay with me, I appreciate that. I work my ass off on this podcast, and I think it's a hell of a lot better than Joe Rogan interviewing the ref for the chef from his favorite restaurant. My God. If you want to advertise, reach out to me, Eric at ericsaintshow.com. And if you're bored, for God's sake, turn off the radio. Radio is so bad right now. Never before have there been so many voices saying nothing. Embarrassing. Reach out, Eric at ericsaintshow.com. I'll make you a star. You and your business front and center on the Eric Saint Show podcast. Thanks, folks. Have a good one. Bye-bye.